All right, let's talk. As a urologist, I've spent decades helping men just like you maintain their strength, their circulation, and their confidence. Today, we're going to get into a private topic, one that might be silently impacting your health in ways you probably haven't even considered. You know, a 72-year-old patient of mine sat in my office and said this to me not long ago. And it perfectly captures what we're talking about today. He wasn't sick, wasn't on any new medication, but a private habit he'd had his entire life was suddenly starting to cause problems. And the thing is, the problem wasn't the act itself, but how he was doing it. So this is the big question, isn't it? Could something you do in private be quietly affecting your heart, your prostate, and your overall health? You've probably been told it's a healthy thing to do, but after you hit 60, some of those old habits can start to backfire, often without a single warning sign. So let's dive in. I'm going to walk you through the 7 most common mistakes I see, and more importantly, show you how to fix them before they take a toll on your energy and your long-term health.
But before we get to that first mistake, do me a favor. I'd love to know who's listening. Go ahead and drop your age and the city you're in down in the comments. It really helps build a great community here. And if you find this information helpful today, please be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on more advice like this.
Okay, let's get into our first section. The first 2 mistakes we're going to cover have less to do with your physical technique and everything to do with your mind and your environment. Specifically, what you're watching and where you are. The first mistake, and this one has become incredibly common, is relying on pornography. I have so many men who come into my office worried, and they all say some version of the same thing. Doctor, I just can't seem to feel much anymore. It's like my body's going numb. So what's really going on here? Well, it's about brain chemistry. See, when you're over 60, your brain's dopamine system, that's your pleasure and motivation center, it's not as resilient as it was at 25. High-intensity adult films can overwhelm the system, and over time, your brain adapts by basically turning down the volume, making itself less sensitive. The side effect is that real, natural human touch starts to feel, well, less rewarding. The key takeaway here isn't that your age is the problem, it's the overstimulation. The solution is to dial it back and start reconnecting with your own body and your own imagination. All right, this next mistake is going to surprise a lot of you. It has nothing to do with what you watch, but everything to do with where you do it. Many men use the bathroom for privacy, but let me be clear. Masturbating while sitting on the toilet is doing a lot more harm than good. For men our age, circulation is everything. It's the whole ball game. And when you're sitting hunched over on the toilet, you're literally restricting blood flow right where you need it the most. You're putting direct, sustained pressure on your prostate, and you're subtly damaging fragile nerves day after day. This is what can lead to things like that annoying dribble after you urinate or a persistent, dull ache in your groin. Your prostate is quietly begging you to stop squeezing it.
Let's move on to our next section, which gets more into the physical side of things, pressure and anatomy. These next 2 mistakes are all about the how, the actual technique, and the internal systems that you might be completely ignoring.
I can't even tell you how many patients have said to me, "Doc, I just don't feel as much as I used to." And the common, almost instinctive reaction to that loss of sensitivity is to grip tighter, to press harder, to use more force. This is one of the single most damaging habits I see. And what happens is you get stuck in this terrible feedback loop. You feel less, so you grip harder. But that aggressive friction causes real physical damage. We're talking micro tears, scar tissue, a loss of elasticity. It can even contribute to painful curvature or Peyronie's disease. So please, if you remember one thing, remember this. Force does not restore feeling. It destroys it. The solution here is so simple, but it's profound. You have to adopt a gentler approach. You have to relearn the landscape of your own body. It has changed, and it needs a different kind of handling now. Your body is not something to fight against. It deserves care. And that brings us right to our next mistake. Ignoring a critical group of muscles that, frankly, most men have never even heard of, let alone learned how to use. I'm talking about the pelvic floor. I want you to think of the pelvic floor as the hidden engine for your entire pelvic region. It's this muscular foundation, this sling of muscles that powers everything, from erections and orgasms to bladder control. And when that engine is neglected, everything that sits on top of it starts to suffer, quietly but surely. And the difference is night and day. A weakened pelvic floor leads to leaking, reduced sensation, and weaker erections. But an engaged, strong one, that gives you control, confidence, and enhanced feeling. So how do you find these muscles? Simple. The next time you're urinating, try to stop the flow midstream. That muscle you just squeezed? That's your pelvic floor. You can practice tightening it for a few seconds and then releasing. Even doing a few of these Kegel exercises a day can make a huge difference in both function and feeling. Okay, on to our final section. This last set of mistakes deals with rhythm, routine, and that all-important emotional component that so often gets forgotten. This is a topic a lot of older men feel uncertain about. Some guys worry they're doing it too often, others are concerned they've gone too long without it. The truth I've seen in my practice is that both extremes can cause problems. This chart gives you a pretty good visual. Too little and the body can actually experience atrophy. The old use it or lose it principle really does apply here because circulation is what keeps the tissue healthy. On the other hand, if you do it too much, the body can't keep up, leading to things like prostate irritation and just feeling depleted. For most men over 60, 1 to 2 times per week seems to be the sweet spot for maintaining circulation without causing exhaustion. This next mistake, this is the one that almost every man gets wrong at some point. It's the habit of rushing. For decades, many men learned to treat this as a task to be completed, not an experience to be felt. But after 60, your nervous system does not function well under that kind of pressure. Rushing sends your body into a state of tension. And sure, you might reach a climax, but your body doesn't get the true reward. You're just left feeling drained, not energized. And this brings us to our final and maybe the deepest mistake of them all. It's not about what you do, how often you do it, or where you do it. It's about how you feel when you do it. Over time, it's easy to fall into the trap of practicing this act mechanically, completely stripped of any real emotion or intention. And here's why that matters so much. When the experience is disconnected from real feeling, it basically trains your nervous system to expect pleasure without purpose. You don't get that same release of healing hormones like oxytocin. It becomes a shadow of what it could be, and it can even reinforce a sense of loneliness rather than connection. All right, we've covered all 7 mistakes, so now let's pull it all together. Because the real transformation starts right now, when you understand how to reconnect with your body and move forward with strength and vitality at any age. If you look back at all 7 of these mistakes, from relying on porn to using too much force to rushing through it, they all have one thing in common. They are all forms of disconnection. That is the real threat here. It's not your age, it's not a lack of desire, it's the slow, quiet erosion of the connection you have with your own body. But here is the good news. It is never too late to change this. Your path forward starts with small, intentional shifts. Be gentler. Approach your body with curiosity, not shame. Stop chasing some idea of performance and start honoring actual sensation. The only goal is to simply reconnect with the body you have today. I want to leave you with this final thought. Your body is still speaking to you. Its voice might be a little quieter now, but it is still there. It wants your attention, it wants your care, and it wants your respect. The question is, are you ready to listen? Take what you've learned here, apply it gently, and please remember, your best years are not behind you. They're in how you choose to live this next chapter.